Have you ever been cruising down the road and suddenly ended up stuck behind a truck so expensive it looks like it came with its own financial advisor? You know the type. Paint shining like a mirror, rims polished to perfection, interior stitched with leather that probably costs more than your phone, and a price tag that makes you question reality. And here's the part that messes with your head. There's a good chance the person driving it isn't rich. They might even earn less than you. So how does this make sense? How are everyday people managing car payments that look completely disconnected from logic, math, and common sense? I spend a lot of time thinking about money, specifically why people make financial choices that quietly sabotage them. And if you've ever looked at your neighbor's $70,000 truck while they complain about the price of groceries, you're not crazy. Something strange is going on. Before we explain how people pull this off, we need to understand just how extreme the situation has become. Not that long ago, a car payment over $400 felt excessive. Today, the average new car payment is well over $700 a month, and that's not for luxury cars. That's normal, everyday vehicles. Once you step into trucks and SUVs, monthly payments regularly push past $900 and sometimes even $1,200. That's rent money. That's mortgage money. And people are signing up for these payments for 6, 7, even 8 years. What makes this even stranger is that wages haven't exploded to match these prices. Yes, incomes have risen, but not nearly enough to justify this level of spending using traditional financial logic. So what's actually happening? The truth is, an entire system has evolved to make unaffordable cars feel affordable, and understanding that system might save you from a decision that quietly follows you for the next decade. Let's start with loan terms. Car loans used to be short. 3 years was normal. 4 years felt long. Today, that's ancient history. 6-year loans are common. 7- and 8-year loans are everywhere. Some lenders are even offering 10-year car loans, which honestly sounds more like a warning label than a financial product. Why do people accept this? Because stretching the loan makes the monthly payment look reasonable. A truck that would cost $1,400 over 4 years suddenly becomes $850 over 8. Buyers fixate on that lower number and ignore everything else. But spreading payments out doesn't make the car cheaper, it makes it more expensive. Over time, that manageable payment adds tens of thousands of dollars in extra cost. Worse, the car loses value much faster than the loan balance drops. Years into the loan, many people owe far more than the vehicle is worth. That's how people end up trapped in negative equity, unable to sell or trade without paying thousands out of pocket. And extended loans are just the beginning. Another major factor is promotional financing, especially 0% interest offers. These deals look like free money, but they're not. The cost is hidden in the price of the vehicle. You either get a discount or special financing, never both. And most people don't even qualify for the best offers. Those who do usually could have afforded the car anyway. Everyone else ends up with higher interest stretched over longer terms. Then comes the trade-in cycle. Here's how it works. Someone buys a car with a long loan. A few years later, they want something newer, but they still owe more than it's worth. So the dealer rolls the leftover debt into a new loan for a more expensive vehicle. Now they're paying for 2 cars, one they drive and one they no longer own. This cycle repeats. Debt grows, payments never really disappear, and buyers become permanent customers because escaping the cycle requires a painful cash payment most people don't have. But maybe the most dangerous part is how normal all of this feels now. Spending $1,200 a month on almost anything else would sound insane. If someone said they spent that on clothes or coffee, you'd worry about them. But when it's a car, we shrug and say, well, you need transportation. That mindset didn't happen accidentally. Cars aren't sold as machines anymore. They're sold as identities. Your vehicle is framed as proof of success, competence, and status. Ads don't show traffic, they show freedom, mountains, confidence, and respect. So people don't feel like they're buying transportation, they feel like they're buying who they want to be. And once emotion takes over, math stops mattering. To make these payments work, many people restructure their entire lives around their vehicle. Smaller apartments, fewer vacations, cheap food, delayed goals. Some take second jobs just to pay for the thing they already bought. Others borrow from retirement accounts, use credit cards for repairs and insurance, or even tap home equity, turning appreciating assets into funding sources for depreciating ones. It's backwards, but it's common. Families often jungle multiple car payments at once, 2, sometimes 3, combined payments that exceed housing costs, insurance bills that rival utilities, maintenance surprises that get pushed onto credit cards, all for assets that lose value every single day. When you run the full numbers, loan payments, insurance, fuel, repairs, it's not unusual for someone to spend well over $100,000 on transportation in just a few years, only to end up with a vehicle worth a fraction of that. And the real tragedy, that same money invested instead could have built real wealth. But once someone commits, they defend the decision fiercely. The car becomes part of their identity. Criticizing the payment feels personal. Downsizing feels like failure, even if the payment is quietly draining their future. The system relies on this psychology. Dealerships focus on monthly payments, not total cost. They solve objections by stretching time, not lowering prices. Everything is optimized to get signatures, not build stability. So when you see someone driving a vehicle that looks wildly unaffordable, remember this: they're probably not rich. They're probably not winning. They're just playing a very expensive game of financial delay. And that older, reliable car sitting in your driveway, it might be doing something far more impressive, giving you freedom.